And yes, I mean it when I actually say that I think that the privacy or the GDPR is bleeding right now. And unfortunately, it's the fault of the majority of the data protection officers and the data protection authorities out there. And I'm not talking down to anybody. I don't want to tell data protection officers how to do their job. I'm just here making an episode to explain why I started hashtag marketection and why I actually want to teach people about data protection GDPR is because 5 years into my job as data protection officers for telecommunication providers and so on, actually advising some of the biggest retailers in the world. And I've seen a shining, thank God, and I only thank God for that I have seen a shining data career in GDPR, in data protection, in the privacy field. But I haven't understood what privacy means. And now I actually see the GDPR compliance in a hugely different way. And I understand how we can leverage GDPR. I understand perhaps because now I actually see even my personal privacy in a different light, which I haven't seen before because I never understood. Like, I genuinely believed I'm in a meaningless job, and now I don't think anymore because of some realizations I had. One of the story was that I told you about in the last episode when I went to New York and the border officer actually wanted me to open up the social media account. And I was like that actually hit me hard in life. That was the first time in my life ever that somebody, me with the German passport who has been traveling all his life, 27 countries in the EU, never stopped by the police in the world, visa-free access. And then you get to the border officer, border control in New York, and you ask for your social media account. Because I put my Instagram account on private for, if you are my Instagram account, by the way, you are one of the close people I have. And they wanted me to open up my Instagram account in front of them, although it wasn't private. That was just one experience that hit me hard. And I understood that, okay, perhaps I'm now in a different part of life or in a different segment of life where I understand that privacy matters in a completely other light than before. And I understood that privacy is not a given good in all societies, at all times, in all geographical locations. And I think many of you can agree, 10, 20, 30 years back, parents caring about their children's privacy, that was absolutely that was news. Children don't have privacy. That understanding today is completely different. Same goes with the privacy in front of major companies who run the world. Who are you as a single consumer who can actually ask for your GDPR rights? And by the way, I never used my GDPR rights. I know that they are I used Article 15 for sake of delaying court cases and so on during my career. By the way, many lawyers do that, just asking for a copy of the client's data just to delay a case by another 30 days or something. It's a good legal method, especially if you owe money to another company. I never said that. Anyway, so some things happened in my life and I came to the realization that GDPR matters in the way it is right now. It is actually bleeding. And I'm going to say that because the GDPR has been protecting us, me and you, for a very long time and is actually showing the world the gold standard of privacy, of protecting the dignity of human beings, that many other countries in the world have acknowledged the way the GDPR went and perhaps are going to go ahead and do it better. Which means that we in the EU need to do it better. But the thing is that we need to wake up and actually teach our fellow marketeers, fellow business leaders, and the companies that we are working with, data protection officers need to understand that their role is a role to, you're not just representing your consumers or your audience. You have to teach your colleagues how you have to save the dignity of personal data for your consumer. Let me put it in other words. Your entire business is being run on personal data. Can we take care of this statement to be true? Because the people you're doing business with, the people you're hiring, the people, the prospects which you are not doing business with, you're showing advertisements to, all of that surrounds with personal data. Even if you send out that bill in the end of your service, you send it out to a mail address or to an email address or to a post address. And there are still people in major companies who are telling me, Amr, the GDPR is just a guideline. And actually, they're not that wrong. But I'm saying that it is still a law. It is a minimum standard law, I always say. There are many minimum standard laws. It's just a word I made up right now. There are many laws that just give you an absolutely minimum way to behave in society. Look at the entire criminal code. It's not it's not rocket science not to steal. It's not rocket science not to... Now, please, the lawyers under you guys don't call me crazy for comparing the GDPR to the criminal code. Although the GDPR does have criminal sanctions as well, but we'll talk about that in another episode as well. My main point is that the GDPR, that there are actually laws where we all have the same moral understanding. And in the European Union, in 2018, we came, or honorable members of parliament came to the conclusion that the privacy of human beings matter. Increasing economic output matters to us as well. And we understood that if we can create a harmony between consumer rights, privacy rights, consumer rights, and actual businesses, then we can that the economy in the EU will thrive. And that is what has happened, but has now been leveraged by just a few companies and not by everybody. Look at Apple. Like, genuinely look at companies like Apple who are out there to build long-term trust. They don't rely on a mere GDPR compliance. You know, they, like, if you think about a company that is denying access to the FBI to one single iPhone to save the privacy of millions of iPhone users, and they're saying that to the president of the United States, then you understood that this company is way beyond GDPR compliance. Like, they understand what privacy and dignity of human beings matter. The problem we're having in Europe, where we have the gold standard of the GDPR and it's telling us to do things we should be doing, we're not there. We're not complying. And for some reason, in so many companies, data protection officers are struggling to implement 100% GDPR compliancy. And I absolutely believe that 120 and 150% GDPR compliance is possible, because it is a minimum standard law. It just tells you things that you should be doing anyway. Come on, guys, you shouldn't be sending out 1,000 emails without consent. We all understand that. And if you want to send out an email to somebody that at least you know and is familiar with you and wants to receive your email, it's just something that you do, or something businesses do. It's not just something which, the GDPR told me I can't send emails. Like, do you really want to start spamming people who don't even care about your business? Or do you want to provide that value first and then actually leverage the GDPR to go ahead and send and get the consent from them? Like, it's just a way which you should be doing anyway. It's not rocket science, guys. It's GDPR, and that is what #marketection, that is our key mission to communicate, that charging 200 to 500 euros per hour for writing a privacy statement, and you can look up in a law firm that has like 90 clients, I can guarantee you 89 clients are going to have the same 89 clients are going to have the same privacy statement. Copy pasted of that GDPR compliant. Well, it's absolutely not. You're just lucky that right now the data protection authorities have better things to do. You're just lucky that your audience, you're still counting on millennials and the generations before that, because they have known your name for a while now. But things are changing, especially with the privacy generation. Gen Zs understand how valuable the data is to them. And I repeat that in all the videos. Guys, this was it for today's episode. I hope I have not talked too much nonsense, but I just wanted to communicate a little bit why I start #marketection now at this point. Because look, I'm not the legal expert. I don't know all the recitals of the GDPR. I know 47, I know 58, I know 52. I perhaps know what Article 6 is. I know where the tasks of GDPR officers are in Article 39. I perhaps know that 13 and 14 is about private statements and so on. I understand perhaps that 30 is ROPA. Okay, I do understand some bit of the GDPR, actually getting to realize now. But what I'm saying is, I'm not an absolute expert about GDPR. All I want to speak about is privacy. And I want #marketection to speak about privacy and actually teach people the concept of their privacy and their privacy rights in combination with businesses, and that consumer rights, and the main consumer right you guys have is your personal data, because the majority of businesses earn money with your personal data. They hire you, they sell to you, they advertise to you, they send bills to you. Everything is surrounded by personal data. Nothing is done without personal data of people, about data of actual human beings, market research, all of it. Website users, interactions, and analytics. Look anywhere and you will see data protection, and you will see your personal data going around. Like, it is absolutely fundamental, and there needs to be regulations around that. It was just so important for me, to come up with the importance of. It was just very important for me to come up with the reason why actually the tasks of the data protection officer are so fundamentally important, and what #marketection is going to be starting to talk about. That we're going to be talking about why privacy matters, and that we have to make sure that we are fixing the way we look at the GDPR, and companies need to fix the way They are building brand audience relationships because otherwise they're not gonna be there anymore. And we are seeing this happening. Look at the telecommunication companies in Berlin. How many are closing down or going to liquidation because they get warnings and fines from data protection authorities they can't pay, and they just close down and they open up under a new brand name. And if you look about that, it's actually a big group company which is just utilizing personal data of people as long as they can still utilize it. But many of these big names you won't see anymore. Companies like Apple, who are building long-term relationships, for who GDPR compliance is here, but they're operating there in regards to the privacy of their consumers. That is actually where I believe that #marketection is able to take your businesses as well. If you want to subscribe to this, perhaps, or don't, because again, 5 years into my job, I never cared about GDPR, privacy and GDPR. So if you don't, I can't really speak negatively about that, or I can't really blame you for it. And that's where I don't understand that there are still many privacy lawyers, guys. And I don't want to call any names, to be honest, because I never wanted to do that. But there are privacy lawyers, and you probably know there are not many. You probably know who I'm speaking about. They're so negative. Like, they're actually insulting Meta. They're actually insulting major global communication companies, firms who are dealing with a ton and billion and trillion amount of details of human beings, and who have to come up with such a huge responsibility, and who were actually able to go ahead and gain the trust of so many millions and millions of consumers. And then you, as Mr. Data Protection Lawyer, are going around insulting people here. #marketection is your opposite pole. We have a complete other mission. We have a complete other kind of message which we want to get out there. So if you are looking, or if you're a DPO who is looking for those kind of negative vibes, feel free to go and follow their channels or so on. But #marketection is about positive vibes and harmony between consumer rights, and mainly it's about privacy and personal data, and the harmony between consumer rights and businesses. And we want to fuel that, and we want to fix what people, and especially me personally, I'm putting the blame with the data protection officers. Not officers. I'm putting the blame with the data protection authorities, because they are the one who should have been more sensible. They are the ones who have to create awareness. They are the ones who failed to tell people what legitimate interest actually means. And don't tell me that whitelists and blacklists of DPIAs are gonna make the difference. No. I can explain DPIAs in a much better way. And I'm not a data protection authority, or I don't have actually lawyers who are working. I don't have the top lawyers in the world who are working for me. But I can tell you that data protection officers are actually for companies to know that they actually know what they're doing. It's so simple to give the awareness of privacy sometimes, because it's all it is. It's just things that you should be doing anyway. It's genuinely, that's all what it is. It's things that you should be doing anyway. GDPR compliance. If people tell me, okay, you're probably going to say, ROPAs are a living organism. You can't have 100% of ROPAs. That's not the point. You're not supposed to have 100% of your ROPAs if you're a growing business. If you, day by day, you have new projects going on, if the dynamics is if you're a vibesy company, you're supposed to have a ROPA that is living organism. But you're supposed to also have guidelines and documentations that communicate that directly. If a data protection officer goes and the next one comes in, shouldn't be thinking, oh, okay, the first thing we need is ROPAs. That should be thinking, okay, let's look at the existing ROPAs. Where are we? What can we do extra? GDPR compliance, absolutely minimum. That is what #marketection stand for. I apologize for taking so much time off you guys today, and I hope to see you on the next one.